Hello and welcome, everyone. This is the Being Healthy live stream every Thursday, same time, same place. Tune in then and share, because the things we're speaking about here, the things we're presenting here, are things that really affect our lives in every way, shape, or form. Could my co-host please just mute themselves, because I'm hearing noise coming in. Hi, everyone. And what I would like to do today is we're actually wrapping up this entire month on parenting. And what we'd like to do today is look at all the different ways in which there is toxicity present when we do not recognize it and realize it when we're caring for, nurturing, and feeding our children. I think it's a very important topic, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about that. So I'm going to put on first a very short video for you to watch, showing you exactly what I'm talking about.
Johnson & Johnson is the largest, costliest, and deadliest criminal conspiracies in American history. Nothing else is close. They caused or contributed to the deaths of 2 million Americans. Johnson & Johnson, according to grand jury documents that I have, which, as you know, Josh, is really rare to have. They are very secret. Johnson & Johnson sales reps then went to psychiatrists with two messages. One was, don't worry about killing your patients. No one will ever catch you. And the other was, if you want to hide your tracks, diagnose these patients with late onset schizophrenia. You and I both know that there is no such thing as late onset schizophrenia. And that's when I realized, oh my God, this company is totally different than what I thought. Because of course, Johnson & Johnson has been selling itself as the baby company for more than 100 years. Johnson & Johnson itself has spent $35 billion since 2011 on lawyers and litigation. I knew many of the top experts in the country, and I called them about these stories, and they would immediately go off the record and say, Gardner, are you out of your mind? Do you know what kind of lawyers these people have?
You know, when I think back to Johnson & Johnson for myself, the thing I remember most is the commercials with no more tears, right? You've got a baby in a bath, but the reality is that it's good marketing, and it was a lie.
Ha. So you both are parents. I don't know, Pete, if you have Johnson & Johnson in the United Kingdom, but it sure is big in the United States. I have a huge issue with them as well. So did you ever use Johnson & Johnson products for your own children, or are you still using it? Life, and was it used for you?
Oh, absolutely not. I would never use Johnson & Johnson for myself. Was it used on me? I can remember Johnson & Johnson products in the house. Now, no more tears. What they didn't go into, which they might have gone into next in that video, was there was actually a chemical compound in that soap that retarded the tear ducts. So it actually shut off your ability to release tears. That is so toxic. I mean, we need all of our channels of elimination to work properly, our tears, our skin, our sweat, all of our organs of elimination. And they chemically retarded children's ability to tear, which is why it was no more tears. So, yeah, I mean, gross. And it's so important. There is so many toxic chemicals in personal care products that are disrupting the endocrine system of our children. I can remember going to my sister's house. She's 18 months older than I am. She has 4 kids, and crying and being like, you cannot use these products on your kids. Of course, she didn't listen to me. And lo and behold, all of her teenagers had really bad acne because of the endocrine disruption of products like Axe body wash and Axe body spray. These really pungent fragrances completely screw up your endocrine system. They are so toxic on the liver and the kidneys. They put so many chemicals in the body that the kidneys and the liver could no longer perfuse and do what they're meant to do. And then the children have incredible acne, and no one's listening to why it happens, and no one's looking at, wow, if there's a result like that showing up on your skin, we need to look at why that's happening. And a lot of it in their case was all these body care products that were so toxic. And of course, dairy, So, the hormonal disruption that's created by cow dairy and sugar, of course, and all of the chemical colors that are in foods that are marketed for children. I'm just shocked and appalled at what's in grocery stores in the United States. We don't go anywhere near it. Nothing with chemical colors. And I'm so glad that California just passed a bill to remove some of these colors. Finally, these cancer-causing colors. When I look back at decades past of what we think is appropriate food to feed children, it's not food. As I've heard Doreet say before, it's pood. It's not real food. And what's happened then is the children grow up and we see, 2/3 of adults are overweight, 1/3 of adults are obese. And then they're having all of the autoimmune disorders that go along with that, and all of the degeneration that goes along with a diet that's not real food. And when clients come to me, it's so hard for them to break the addiction, to even acknowledge the addiction that they have to this non-food that has been just creating clogs in their body, all these preservatives, all of these fake ingredients, the chemical ingredients, everything's a chemical, but all of these, non-food chemical ingredients that is really polluting people. And it's not hard to see what all of this pollution has done to people. It's not hard to see. We see it. We see the pollution of the food and the personal care products walking around among us in our culture. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And not only that, but the fact that a lot of it is geared to children who are the most invincible. First of all, children, not only they're innocent, they depend totally on us to rescue them, guide them, and to make sure that they are okay and well. And here it is that we are using the most damaging thing for them, the most toxic products, and we think it's fine. Why? Because advertisers are telling us this. Advertisers are asking medical doctors to say this, and then there's no repercussion afterwards, and we're left with children who are really ill and sick. Just think about this whole thing about ADHD and all these autism and all that. The children are being totally and completely neglected in our society for profits. Not only that, but they are being used. They're being used to make money. This is very shocking to me that we have now created societies where we no longer protect children, where children are no longer the be-all and the incredible beings that they are. The sacredness of them is not anymore acknowledged, and it's definitely not heralded nor celebrated. And this, to me, is the most shocking part of all of this. Pete, do you have Johnson & Johnson or products like that in the UK?
Yes, it's very, very big in the UK. Thank you, Blythe. That was amazing. And Doreet, it's very big. So I remember we have Johnson & Johnson baby powder. We have Johnson & Johnson like shower, bath bubble, different washes. So I haven't seen that before. I mean, it is kind of shocking. Obviously we are recognizing that we elect different people, governments in, and obviously by that allowing things like that, it's not they're really not doing their job correctly on many levels. So all the perfumes, deodorants, the list goes on and on. So it is horrific in terms of that. It's seems like soon as we are born, there's an agenda to poison us, you know. And on a level, in terms of what I'm aware of from my childhood and what I'm aware of in terms of energetics and other levels, realms, etc., you know, it keeps us asleep, keeps us very docile. And then if you go follow the dollar, it's like, you know, pharmaceutical and media, it seems to be again controlled by not very nice certain owners, people. So, you know, the best we can educate ourselves. I mean, I look back and was I doing it 18 years ago with my elder daughter? I don't think we were, but we still was ignorant to a degree. Much more awareness as we've gone on in time, but definitely with my boys. Sorry, boys. My men now, 38, 36, or 37, 35. So, and then, you know, you think of what we had. It's like, whoa, you know, and, you know, why? What's going on? I remember there's so much, you know, with the chemtrails. Why? What's going on? So the best thing we can do is do our best. You know, some people might think, oh, we can't do anything, but you do your best. You grow your own food and make your own baby food. I remember I used to love many of the little jars, especially little baby chocolate pudding. And, you know, I wouldn't like to look back and think what is in them as well. But in my mind, they would have had unhealthy ingredients. So it's a real shame that the education is hidden from us. The mass media, the mass advertising is just leading us down a stray in terms of poisoning our children. And then so we are born looking up to our parents. You know, they're our gods, because we'll do anything to please them, because they are looking after us and they are feeding us. So, and then we pass that same perpetual nonsense down to our children, and it goes on and on and on. So it's you know, we really need to educate, really need to break that chain. And for some of us, it can be challenging, more challenging than others. So yes, all what we put on your body, we should not put, or it's wise not to, my opinion, anything that you're not going to put in your mouth, don't put on your body. Really read the ingredients. So in relation to children, you know, I do reiterate, we're coming into a war zone when you really break it down, you know. And it's not to be pessimistic, it's just like, well, just look at it. Don't stay up in the clouds. Look at what's going on and what can we do? You know, there are solutions, always solutions. So, and we take action from that, you know, join certain groups who are kind of more aware on these topics, really, and get books. Me, I wasn't aware at all. You know, I was really young when I had my first child. So Johnson & Johnson was big. Cowpole was big. You know, basically just sedating our children. It's like, oh my gosh. And the biggest thing I realized, once we reparent ourselves, is they are conduit. They are a conduit again. So, you know, on some level, you know, especially the cowpole, etc., we're happy to kind of suppress them because they're more enlightened energy triggers our unresolved trauma. However, I did use Johnson & Johnson. But no more.
And that's great to hear. No more. I hope more people are finding out about this in the UK as well. And that's the purpose of this show, is to help people to find the information. I want you to look at something that I'm going to put on the screen right now. And please comment on this, starting with Blythe, please.
What am I looking at here?
So
Toxins enter, toxins exit, the liver. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what, Pete, thank you for saying, everything that goes on our skin, we're absorbing into our bloodstream. So if we don't want to put it in our mouth, we should not be putting it on our skin. And this is something that largely people are not awake to, which I'm so grateful to you, Doreet, for putting this content out there and producing this show, because people need to get that. They need to get this idea that whatever we are putting on our skin, we are putting in our bloodstream. And that even goes for like your bath water. If it's not filtered, it's full of chemicals, and that is being absorbed into your skin and all of that. And, there are over 80,000 different ingredients and personal care products that have never been tested by the FBA or the FDA. So the fact that that's even allowed, like we're under this, false trance that nothing would be on the shelf that would hurt us. That is not true. And people need to wake up to that. Over 80,000 ingredients have never even been tested. You can make products and just put stuff in them and, wipe your kids' hands and feet with these wipes that have toxins that are being absorbed into their skin, and, everything in the name of being clean and tidy. It's not popular. I will say this. It's not popular to be the mom that's not letting their kids eat candy. For instance, my daughter lost a friend because her mom bought my daughter a big bag of gummy worms, the bright colors covered in sugar. And I very gracefully told the mother, like, please. And first of all, she took my daughter. This is the food element is one of the main reasons why I homeschool my kids, because they were in school, public school, for a year and a half. And even though I always made their own lunches and gave them their own food, the food and the candy, the colored candy that they were exposed to in school was horrifying. So this girl and my daughter, they became fast friends. And the mom took her after school to the park one day and stopped at a 7-Eleven and bought her this big bag of these sugar-coated gummy worms. And she comes to me and she goes, "Oh, I know you wouldn't like that," like as if it was a joke. And so I very gracefully told her, I was like, "Listen, I don't like that. And this is why. Please don't buy my child candy. They're cancer-causing colors. None of that is real ingredients. And the amount of sugar in that bag, I bet there's 150 grams of sugar in that bag. My daughter's so excited to have that candy. I'm sure she's going to eat that whole bag. And we just doused my child with way too much sugar than her body can handle. And that is why, please don't buy that for her." So even though I was so graceful, and I thought, by explaining it, that it was like, I explained it so that she would understand. This woman, the next time I saw her, completely snubbed me. I was literally a foot away from her, calling her name, saying hi. She didn't look at me. I've never been snubbed in my life. That's what snubbing is, right? When someone just pretends they don't see you and just walks right by. And then her daughter persisted to health shame my daughter in school. And of course, my daughter is very confident and comfortable in herself. And so she didn't buy into that. She's like, but the fact that she was like, "Your mom's a health freak," right? And it's just health shaming. Like, really? It's hard to be the parent that's, I, for instance, can't stand Halloween. I can't, like, dress up if in cute costumes, princesses and superheroes, that's great. But the gore and the violence and the general imagery, especially in Los Angeles, because we have a lot of, set decorators and a lot of people that have, passion for gore. And we see crazy decorations around town that are so affronting to me visually, and certainly to children, like a head cut off and a stake on the front lawn and like stuff like this, that you're like, why are these visuals everywhere? And then the candy. Let's just go get a ton of candy and just eat a ton of candy. I have a really hard time with it. So it's not popular. So, and I will just close this by saying that to help your kids not have that toxic impact, like the graphic, like to really stop your children from just absorbing all of these toxins in our culture present day, it takes a lot of awareness and a lot of intentionality.
Well, I'm so shocked at that word, gummy worms. I mean, just the name itself is frightening to me.
Appalling. Who wants to eat a worm, right?
I'm really stunned. So I'm going to go and bring up some other things that we haven't discussed yet. And that's what we ourselves are using in our homes that are really toxic to our children, not to us too, but specifically to our children. It's interesting that all of this stuff is seen as necessary. And there's so many different choices we could do. There's a time when we didn't need all this, we didn't use all this, but all of a sudden this comes by and this comes up and it's being sold to us and manufactured and also completely and totally advertised in such a way as if these are necessities. And then these are the common household poisons that we see on a regular and daily basis. So why are we allowing this for our children? And also, why are parents not, first of all, spending some time researching and investigating this, which is why we're doing this show. So people don't have to waste their time doing it. We do it for them. And all you have to do is tune in for an hour and there you go. So how do you get away from all this stuff when you know that other people in the homes of your children's parents, they're using this, and if your children go there, they're breathing in and touching all this stuff? Pete?
Oh yeah, well, obviously educate yourself, really get the best you can. The unfortunate thing, well done, Blythe, hold your ground. Yeah, I mean, there's many a times I see I'm like a thorn in the backside of, especially festivals over the last 6 years. People jump on it and it's like great, and they may do it for 2 years or so many years, and even now people might have done it for 6, 7 years. In terms of this journey, raw vegan journey, you don't have to be raw vegan, but in terms of just a more health consciousness. And then obviously I'm going to say they hit something, trauma, and they haven't got the tools or the protocol to move through that, to dissipate that energy. So they go back. And then all of a sudden, not quite snub, but that kind of vibe. So, excuse me. So what we do with our 3-year-old, we did it a little bit with my daughter as well, because the mum was very more conscious, was older as well. So with Zola, we make all our sweet treats. We make our treats. So can we make gummy things? We can actually make gummy things. We could make gummy worms, actually. So we can make many things, and we always bring them out with us. I mean, she's nearly 3, so, and always have fruits, and if the child, again, it comes down to the parents, seeing the parents enjoy the fruits, it's like no point in just trying to shove good food down your child or give it to the child and we haven't embodied it, because they copycat, their energy beings at that level, so they know what's going on. So we always have lush fruits, and we love fruits, and she shares with us, teaching her to share that as well. And if there are some sweet treats, the most kind of most things in terms of how it is sweetened is just dates, a few soft dates. And so she has that, really. And so, yeah, she would be bouncing off the walls. So how can, that's how we do our best to look after our child. And I will speak out, really. I wasn't too sure in the beginning. It's like, well, if she had a little bit here and there. It's just like, now, no way, no. So it's just like, articulate it the best way I can, and make the other parents aware of our ethos, and really put the importance of how it is important to us, that if you could respect that, so, and the other big thing, mums and grandmas, oh my gosh, because it's habitual sweets, and then you got ice cream vans and sweet kind of vans outside schools. I mean, so, you know, it's us education, us parents have got to educate ourselves and do things about it. We cannot rely on anyone else. We got to be accountable. We got to be responsible. And if we're seeing injustice like that, we really got to pull together and shift it. However, it comes down to the parent. Educate yourselves. We need to shift this madness, this nonsense, you know, and do it ourselves. Again, you know, no point in, I personally believe, aspiring to try and change your kid if you haven't done it yourself. So we make as much as we can. We have a Tupperware of food for us. So and then some friends, they are making it a beautiful effort. You know, we may go there and there's beautiful salad and beautiful fruits. So it does leave an impression, and you know, not to come down on other people and friends, you know, everyone's on their journey. However, it's wise to listen a little bit and research, you know, and educate, because what's being educated in schools and hospitals and doctors is just upside down. So, you know, we cannot trust them. You know, we need to take the power, whatever, back and educate ourselves so we can really, you know, be authentic to ourselves and to our children's children, to our friends, to our communities, to our mums, dads, grandmas, and re-educate everyone else.
That's exactly why I say like this show, share it, and always, and every single thing that you do, think about what is the result of the choices you make that are most convenient. We've grown up into being a convenient society. If it's convenience, we'll do it. We do not at all even care whether it's harmful or not, just if it's convenient. That's the most harmful thing that we do, that we now choose convenience over ourselves, over our own power, over our own health, and over our own fate. So I want to put this up for a moment, and I want you both to look at this. This is what is being used in your schools. This is what being used at home. And if your children go to somebody's home to play, this could be there. Could you all comment on this, please? Because what I'm seeing here are also very artificial chemicals, toxic chemicals that should never be mixed, and yet they are very often mixed. Can you read this, please, Blythe? And just can you see?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. This is something, you know, everybody can feel this, right? Like when you go into a regular grocery store, like the aisle that has all this stuff in, like I can't even go close to that aisle. I feel it right away. Or like at a Target, doesn't everyone just feel that? Like I can't, I mean, I do. Does everyone else? You feel like I can't even breathe. I can't even go down that aisle. It is like that graphic just said it. You can feel it in your eyes and in your respiratory tract immediately with these chemicals. Did you want me to read this? Chemicals you should never mix: bleach,
yes, please. Yes.
Bleach and alcohol, bleach and vinegar, peroxide and vinegar. So I guess bleach and ammonia equals chloramine. Chloramine smells like chlorine. It irritates eyes, skin, and mucous membranes. This is what I feel when I'm in an aisle like that, which is almost never, but if I ever am. Bleach plus alcohol equals chloroform. Chloroform can knock you out. It causes liver damage and potentially respiratory or cardiac failure. Yikes. Bleach plus vinegar equals chlorine gas. Chlorine is a toxic gas that attacks the eyes, respiratory system, and skin. Peroxide plus vinegar equals, what is that? Periacetic acid. Periacetic acid is highly, did I pronounce that right? Highly corrosive and irritates the eyes, skin, and respiratory system. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's like I can feel that through the bottles when I'm in any kind of environment where they're selling things like that. And this is, you know, it's like you said, Doreet, we don't need this. This is someone packaging us something that we buy thinking you need to clean with bleach. To me, bleach is so toxic. It's not clean. That's not clean. That's toxic, right? And the fact that everyone is so antibacterial all the time is leading us to greater diseases because we don't have the bacteria that creates the health. We need the bacteria to create the health too. So, it's like when we get a wound, I mean, there's a balance, right? It's like clean the wound, but that also kills all the bacteria that's on the skin that will heal the skin. So we just need to have more awareness around everything that we're doing. And, Doreet, you said, people, we just buy stuff because we think we need it. And that's where we need to like wake up and really look at the ingredients of what we're buying and ask, do we need it? And also, does Earth need it? When you showed that first picture of all those chemicals, my heart hurt for Earth, for our beautiful Earth Mother, because all this stuff is just getting put in Earth. And even though Earth is an astounding self-healing system, we are polluting. We are seeing massive pollution that is affecting the health of our humans and of our animals. So people, please wake up and stop using all this stuff because nothing ever goes away. Every time you buy something and then companies make more of it because it's selling and we're using it, all these chemicals are just going into our soil. And then deeper, it's just becoming part of the air, becoming part of the water. It's insidious everywhere. And we need to each individually wake up and make a choice to not have toxins in our environment. And then, wow, what the benefit of that is? We're healthier. So that's a pretty incredible result from waking up. Yeah.
And Pete, what do you use for cleaning? I'm going to ask you to also reply to that afterwards too, please, Blythe.
Well, we would use white vinegar a lot, and we do dilute hydrogen peroxide as well. So there would be the main two, and obviously a good ingredient, eco-friendly washing liquid, washing up powder. So in relation to, chlorine, I used to take my daughter up to a certain age, swimming all the time. And of course, we'd come out red-eyed and we'd love it. And they make them places so fun. So, looking back in retrospect, I think when I really realized, I stopped doing it. And I think she was at the age of 10, so this is about 12 years ago. But we used to have so much fun, and so it's a real shame again. They're creating these areas, McDonald's, and big fun areas, and then feeding them not very nice stuff, saying very mildly. So these areas, it's like they're bringing you into these very more toxic areas. And so I've probably gone off a bit off track there, but just to carry on that, and then you think about the nursery rhymes. Old MacDonald had a farm, and then there you go. So we've been groomed, so much being groomed. So there's so much toxins. We clean with what I just mentioned. They are the main things we clean with, really, and then it is a shame. And of course, we use oils, lavender, we have tea tree oil. So you just need to educate yourself a little bit more, And then in relation to any healing process going on, it delays it. If your immune system is just so obliterated by all these, let's just say, in our ignorance, toxins that we're putting into our body, and then we go and have antibiotics, anti. So it's just like, come on. So, what can I say? I remember when I get quite a few cuts here and there, chopping woods for fires and festivals, etc., working with my hands. And soon as I get it wet, it just goes, it's like 2-3 steps back, wet with water, and what is an amazing healing, which speeds up the process. I had a scar here, and a good friend of mine, Pads, he mentioned about really big on grass, which I wasn't very aware of many years ago. And wow, just a grass poultice, amazing. It just healed quick, really fast. Track that experience. So they are our cleaning products around the house. Oils, lavender, tea tree oil, and I'm sure there's many more really than the toxic stuff that is around.
And Blythe, thank you, Pete.
I love a grass poultice, Pete. That's amazing. If the grass hasn't been sprayed. I'm like, when I see my kids, like they scrape their leg at the park or something, I was thinking, I'll use a grass poultice, but the park grass has been sprayed.
Yeah, you can find it around. You
can find it. Yeah, my grass is not sprayed. Go ahead. What?
Also, I was going to say, recently you found out, there's many things that are said, a handful of grass in the bath absorbs the toxins. That's really interesting.
Oh, I love that. That is really interesting. Oh, that's a great note. So Doreet, to answer your question, what cleaning products do I use? So I use a product called Basic H from a company called Shackley. If anyone's interested, you can DM me and I'll send you a link for it. It's amazing plant-based cleaner. It comes in a bottle like this, and you literally mix 2 drops of it in a water bottle. And so one bottle lasts years. I mean, it's so eco and all plant-based. And then they also have a product called Basic G, which is, they're more like for cleaning the bathroom, more of like, the toilet cleaner, sort of germicide type of thing. That's also completely plant-based. And then I use baking soda. Baking soda, we have white enamel bathtubs and sinks, and that gets cleaned with baking soda.
Thank you for that.
And along with my teeth and my skin. I love doing a baking soda scrub on my skin.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put up something here on the screen, which I want you all to also look at and speak about, because about the 8 toxins that some of them, there are more actually, that are hiding in your cleaning products. So I just want you also, again, Blythe, you can just go through these for our audience, please.
Sure. 8 toxins hiding in your cleaning products. Parabens. So is this that's like the highest is parabens, chlorine, triclosan, ammonium, phthalates, sodium hydroxide. What is that? Perch. I don't know how do you pronounce that?
Usually for short, it's just called PERC, P-E-R-C.
Yeah, PERC. And then what does the bottom one say? It's a little bit smaller.
Quats, Q-U-A-T-S.
And then ammonium. I can't see that one. It's a little bit smaller to make it bigger. Oh, there. Quaternary ammonium compounds, or quats. So I've never heard of that before, but look at the ingredients. Look at the ingredients in everything you buy.
Horrific.
You're muted, Doreet.
Yes, absolutely. So, Pete, could you tell us, I know you do a lot of events, and when you do events, usually when we come to an event, it's all set up and everything is ready to go. Are you particularly ask the event organizers beforehand what cleaning products are they using, and do you bring your own?
So over the last few years, we've slowed down a little bit more and doing too many events, and we bring our own, basically. If it was all set up, I would 100% ask. So we bring our own, and we set up, pack down. So it's like it might be a 3-day event, but we're there. We try and be there 3 days before, and so setting up, ticking all the boxes for putting up the kitchen, sauna area, etc. So yeah, none of them horrific toxins. Fortunately, most of the festivals we go to and did were very conscious of these things, and the one we're going to be doing on the 19th to the 23rd, Sacred Earth, is very eco, very environmentally friendly, so it's really nice choosing certain events. to educate. So, education really. And there's lots of workshops so we can share this information. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, and it's it's a beautiful seed. So it's a great kind of seed of different. Well, a seed of what people can take on. It's a beautiful prototype. And it just imagine, like the song John and Leonard, really, but just imagine anyway that we got back to that more, really. And we don't all have to share the same ethos. I'm very like uncooked raw food, and my awareness to certain things differ. But let's not get caught up in the program there's a big program of divide, etc. What I did want to sort of say was, so we've been taught to, suppress. So the kids might be having a tantrum, and let's just say the electricity, they've learned different ways. They've learned pitches. Honestly, they've learned pitches for each parent. They've learned it. That triggers them. So what is that pitch? This, it's a tone, it's word, first word, etc. So why would it trigger a certain pitch trigger me? Because they've found it, and it's a certain blockage in me. So but unconsciously, what do? Okay, some people even give them the phone, but horrific. And then we give them sweets. We give them generally what they want. So they are our guru, so to speak, and they are so innocent, and they are 100% a conduit. And I'm going to say contaminate them, because we are contaminated from very early on. So we really need to do the work as parents. So that's, I see the sort of habitual problem, one of many that is going on. And there's wouldn't it be great seeing adverts and films and movies and words that are just uplifting and positive? And the movies is all about proper rituals, beautiful rituals before people meet, and the whole mating and the relationship is so divine, and so many things divine, as opposed to just the opposite.
You know what? Thank you so much. If I can just jump in for a second, Pete, thank you so much for saying that, because the entertainment that kids receive is another really toxic experience. There is war in almost every single children's movie, animated feature film. It is about war on some level. There is war. There is revenge as themes. A lot of revenge in crap kids like the Disney shows. Revenge, get back at someone. Pettiness, cattiness. Our children are being programmed for conflict. And I tell my kids all the time, because of course they want to see the Minecraft movie. They want to see all these movies. And I'm just like, you just need to be aware of it. This is war. And I'm personally not entertained by war. It doesn't entertain me at all. And so I think like trying to be an example of that and trying to like call it out, but it's culturally pervasive, what we call entertainment.
Well, it starts actually very young. I am very shocked by the fact that there's so many people who just push their child in front of a TV set, turn on some very violent cartoons.
The cartoons are insane.
And just leave them there. So with that, I want to wrap up our month of parenting with this. I want you to think about this, please. Instead of pushing your child because you have no time for them, or you need to do something, remember that child came to you for a purpose. He didn't come to bother you. The child didn't come to take up your time. It didn't come to waste your time. You need to find the time to be with a child instead of plopping it in front of a TV set, or even worse, in front of a gaming console where they're trying to kill things on there and teaching them to kill. And so this is what I'd like you to think about. Children are at an age where they bring us the greatest gift of wonder and awe. And so what we need to do as parents is young children need to have opportunities to practice feeling wonder, to develop their curious minds. Take them out into who they are, which is in nature. This is who they are. Take them back and watch them. How, when they see a flower blooming, when they see a rabbit, when they see a tree, watch them. Do not tell them how to respond. You just need to allow them to express their own sense of wonder and develop their sense of awe. Is there anything else that either Pete or Blythe would like to close out this month with, please?
Just thank you so much. I'm like crying because of that. That's the answer, Doreet. That's the answer to the epidemic, I'm crying, of teenage mental health that we're experiencing right now. The depression and the anxiety that so many teenagers are feeling is because they're removed from nature. Their feet are not in the grass. They've been on a device. They've been on a device too much, way too much. And I know as a parent how it's so much easier to just like have your kids on a device so that you can do what you need to do. And we just have to remember that, and also because the kids want to be on the device, right? It's like, it's so much harder to be like, no, go outside and play, because they're like, no, I want to play on my device. And we just have to be diligent as parents to remember that being outside and being in nature and remembering the wonder of life is how we stay happy, and it's how we stay healthy.
Well, being in nature is being with themselves, because they are part of nature. That's how they discover that. And helping them explore that sense of wonder and awe, which is inside of them as well, and see it externally, they then begin to realize, if you do it yourself, if you explore your own sense of wonder and awe of who you are, and of this magical, incredible nature that we have been given internally, that expresses itself outside in other aspects of nature and other living beings in nature, then that gives them a deeper sense of their own selves and the deep connection that we have lost for our children of the truth of who they are. When children understand they're part of nature, they will never feel lonely, because there's nowhere in nature where you can feel lonely. They will never feel lacking, because there's nothing in nature is lacking. This is so important. And I wanted to commend Blythe on writing this book for teenagers. This is her book that she wrote. Could you tell very quickly some information about this book, Blythe?
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much. This book teaches and reminds us of really how to have unconditional self-love and unconditional forgiveness. The book also teaches what I call imagineering, of how to use your imagination, your thoughts, your feelings, your being to create the life experience that you love. It helps teenagers excavate their own genius. So listen to your talents, listen to your preferences. They're showing the way. And it also talks a bit about micro investing to help kids learn how, with an app in their pocket, they can start to build their own wealth, which is really exciting and will help lead them on an exciting path.
Pete, what would you like to finish off this month of parenting, of exploring parenting, and how to become the parent that you never knew you could be?
Well, for me, it was, not really educated on that topic really too much, and not seeing very healthy scenarios and situations. So on some level, you could say things going wrong. However, in retrospect, looking back, it's we're a bit like, don't want to use the term, but lambs to the slaughter. Whatever, the blind leading the blind. So I had to look at why things were going wrong. There's many answers to that. And I'm so grateful that they did really to get me to this state of where I am now. And a nice state. So I would educate myself as much as possible. Some of the things I've become aware of is probably a bit too much for this show, but we really got to go deep in introspect connective with ourselves, really. And it's, we are the inner universes. If our inner universe is messed up, then everything else becomes, a reflection of that. So, and everything becomes a conduit of that. So in terms of the parents really have to do the work, and however, it's really challenging, really difficult if you don't have the support. And as Blythe elegantly said, the movies and the music and the toxins everywhere, so it shuts down your connection. So your senses are more so you're more disconnected, they're more clogged up. So we tend to go along with this, go along with that, go along with the mainstreams. They're all very sleepy, fluoride and toothpaste, etc. I have to throw in Nestle. That's in terms of Johnson and Johnson. So there's many bigger corporate companies that really need to be more responsible. So whoever is the governing our areas, we need to get on their case. However, we make the change. Actually, we make the change. So we make the change, and then all of a sudden it will all change. So how in our inner universe, in our vessels first, really, because basically we cannot see the divine in our children, we cannot see the divine in your partners, and for men we have to do the emotional work, because what I'm seeing is just women being the let's just say the conduit of men's unresolved emotions, and it's a real shame, and vice versa at the moment, what I witness. So we got to really do the work, and to really see the divine in us, and really learn to love ourselves, so we can really truly love one another, love our children, really be in the space. The first image you said, just let witness the child. We've got to get to that point in ourselves first to be able to keep imprinting on our children, imprinting on others. We're most of us are just acting out. We're all out of our bodies, and we just took on some kind of persona, which isn't us, isn't really us. So disconnected. So going in barefoot in the woods, is amazing, and it's the parents. If you really want to shift something, our new ones can come through and maybe real warriors, pioneers, and can wake us up, shake us up more.
And thank you for that, Pete. And Blythe, if you want to say something after Pete, please go ahead. But also to close us out, I would like to put something up that I would like you to read.
You'd like me to read that? Sure. Key foundations of conscious parenting. View parenting as a relationship with a separate individual. Excuse me. Be aware of your own emotional state when you're with a child. That is so big. That is so big. So much of how we respond to our kids has everything to do with just where we are, not with what they're doing. Recognize there are big feelings behind behaviors. Absolutely. What is the reason for the behavior? So key. See parenting as a relationship, not a transaction. Get curious about your own triggers. So important. Take care of your own emotional needs and regulation. So true, so true. And remember that the relationship that we have with our children is lifelong, and they're going to be adults for so many more decades than they were kids. So our relationship with them as an adult will be for so much longer than it was as a kid. So remember that, and how we're interacting with our kids. Like, well, I always like to ask my kids, like, give me one word that describes me. Because, and the last time I asked my daughter that, she said happy. And I was like, oh, that's so good to hear. It's like, that's how we can get like feedback of how are we showing up for our kids, because it matters. It matters how they feel about us. And that's a really big point that I hope parents get is, you're not just the one in control and everything needs to go the way you say it goes. You're in a relationship and both parties matter. And that's how it just works so much better. And that's how the relationship gets to feel good too. Oops, you're muted, Doreet.
Thank you. I think that's a very important question to ask children. Give me one word you can use to describe me. I think you'll get a lot of feedback in just that one word, and do not take it personally. See it as a chance to really go within and reparent yourself. And if you take anything away from this month of all the sessions we've done in parenting, 5 episodes we've done, please remember we must reparent ourselves if we're meant to parent from a place of really liking ourselves. When we like ourselves, it's much easier to like our children, and that's all they need from us, because they already came in with their love intact. We beat it out of them, scream it out of them, shape it out of them, and rape it out of them. What we need to do instead is to begin to find a way to clean up our own acts and like ourselves so that we can also like our children. Thanks for coming by. Please share this, everyone. See or other, go and see on YouTube, on Instagram, all over, all the other episodes we've done here if you would like to take a look. In the meantime, join us for other topics coming up in the next, every week. We come here and we always bring ourselves fully to explore all the different ways in life that we can enjoy being healthy. Bye, everyone, and thanks for coming, and thanks to my co-host.